Hello everyone, it's Erin, Gabriella. I hope you're doing amazing. I'm here with another walking adventure. I find that my moments being able to film in Johannesburg are very strange and fleeting, so this is just another time where I just didn't have enough privacy to record indoors. So I'm out again. I think it might be rush hour because there are a lot of cars on the road. I'm trying to talk in between the cars driving by, but I don't know how feasible that will be for the interim, so apologies, but if this is just kind of the sound that we have right now. I will update you a little bit more on where I'm at with my personal life and how things have been going at the end, but I want to jump in with the Akashic record reading, and then I'll give more personal info about where I'm at, what I'm doing, for those who want to stick around for that. So today's Akashic record reading is Bruce Lee. This was requested by a lovely user. Thank you so much for the recommendation. And yes, I do take requests. So if you have a certain celebrity, dead or alive, that you're interested in hearing about, I will take a look at them and incorporate them into a series as I can or as it makes sense. If you would like your own magical Akashic record reading, I have them available on my website, eringabriella.com. So Bruce Lee is another great one to do because while he was incarnate on Earth, he was a light-based being, and he also has a lot of very magical lives. I almost want to refer to Bruce Lee as more of an alien than a man, looking and tapping into his energy. He has a very otherworldly energy, so I understand why there were so many people who were enamored with him during the time he was alive. Another thing that's important to know about Bruce Lee is that it's almost like there's a wall around certain parts of his Akashic records. I don't know if you've seen that cartoon Yu-Gi-Oh, but it reminds me a little bit of the main character has like another being like inhabiting his body, and they have a scene where they go into his mind to try to figure out who he is. And long story short, his mind is literally a maze in and of itself. It's a puzzle that he himself needs to be able to unlock, like nobody else can do it. And I'm getting the sense that Bruce Lee's Akashic records are very much the same. There's just certain parts of his journey that are completely walled off, like it's just completely veiled. I cannot access it. It's like bumping into a brick wall. And also another thing about Bruce Lee is he is the only person so far that I have been looking into who is making a point to have like his energy be very, very present. With the other two, it was much more at a distance. It was kind of like reading a dictionary or like a biography. It was very much their lives and very personal to them, but they are very much like not actively around. But I feel like the energy and the essence of Bruce Lee is very much here right now in my face, like making sure that I present the Akashic records to his liking. So I think that's something very unique for him. He is a very hands-on, especially with his image. He came to Earth for a very specific purpose that in some ways is still shrouded in mystery. It's like I don't even think that I have access to everything and all that his presence meant on this earth. And we'll only get into some of this in this reading, but it's like even his mission is slightly mysterious. Okay, so the first thing to mention about Bruce Lee and the lives that are coming out for him as I take a look at his Akashic records is that he was an alien. Obviously, a lot of humans have had past lives as aliens because many did not originate from the planet Earth, but Bruce Lee especially, like the first lives that are popping up are some of his alien lifetimes. I'm getting lifetimes of him as a humanoid creature. It's hard to describe. The vision that I'm getting is kind of like a flesh-colored blob with like appendages that remind me a little bit of an octopus, but there's not 8 of them. Like there's maybe 4 or 5 appendages and a face that reminds me a little bit of an elephant, but not quite. And him just existing like as this blob like thing, still sentient, still, loving and caring, and that these beings specifically have lived in harmonious society, but so the message that I'm getting is that his form is actually the form of that of an angel. So these beings have lived in an angelic realm, because often the depiction that they have of angels in the Bible is not accurate. Like they're not people with wings. Like they just look really weird, and they usually take on a humanoid form to please the human eye so they don't get freaked out. So I'm getting the sense that Bruce Lee is like his essence is angelic. It's not quite accurate to say he's had lifetimes as an angel because he's still an angel, but he's showing me his true essence and true form, which is an angel. He's lived on angelic realms or had lifetimes where he has been kind of in his true form, which is very much his natural angelic form, existing on the higher planes, watching like humanity just kind of descend into darkness. He was here at the very inception of this planet as one of the older souls that helped like seed this planet and its first inhabitants. And it was already known at the beginning of humanity, kind of the trajectory that this planet would go, where it would have a fall and then it would kind of rebound and go back up, like a hill valley kind of situation. But it was still heartbreaking for him as he was living, well, existing omnipresent as an angel, and also as his lifetimes where he was like this alien type being watching and overseeing what was going on this earth. He's super empathic, so I'm seeing flashes of his, it's not really, again, when you're angelic, you're omnipresent, so he's still existing like as an angel in some form on higher realms, and he's showing me that, as well as prior lifetimes where he has helped to seed this planet, was so excited for the way that humanity would go and to see them kind of grow and blossom on their little soul journeys, and has really been with humanity, at least in spirit, every step of the way, collectively through all the trials, tribulations, wars, peace, smiles, laughter. I'm just being given like his tremendous love for this planet, and part of the reason why he has made a point to come down like in choice moments in the planet's history to kind of help with its ascension or continued development. All that said, considering how loving and peaceful he is, I think it's really interesting that in his lifetime as Bruce Lee, he incarnated as a fighter again. Like that was partly because he was meant to come down in a way that was relatable, in a way that was empowering. So yeah, it's really interesting that, again, he made the choice to come down as a fighter. But again, for Bruce Lee, yes, he is trained in Kung Fu, but I'm getting, or is it Kung Fu? Or something like that. I don't actually know his exact martial arts discipline. But the other thing that he wants to communicate from his past lives, and I'm getting visions now of him being it's okay. So here's the deal with when it comes to things like Kung Fu and Jiu-Jitsu and all these different types of fighting styles, they were not initially like fighting techniques as we know them today. They were really meant to be spiritual disciplines that help to hone and train the mind, the body, and the spirit for the internal struggle that comes with being like a human being on planet Earth and all that comes with that. This is just something that's just, he's kind of communicating to me as an intuitive hit that these disciplines were really spiritual in nature first and foremost. They were more back in the day like performance based when they were first created, and he was very much kind of an originator of the whatever grandfather styles that birthed all these other styles. He had lifetimes when he was there for that, and it was more that these types of styles were much more performance based, much more as a form of fitness. I mean, yes, to a certain extent, there for the development of their, okay, like I'm a little distracted because for some reason all these people are staring at me as I'm walking down the street. I'm just wearing spandex, but it's like the most obnoxiously distracting thing. So I'm just going to go back to where I was before, and just because it's a lot easier than trying to read walking with the cars and the people. It's just so weird. Anyway, where was I going with that? So yeah, like all these different disciplines that he has helped create, these disciplines were very much similar to yoga, the way we view yoga now. Okay, even yoga is bastardized now. It used to be even deeper than what we use it for these days, but that's the closest thing I'm getting, is that these disciplines were kind of a more masculine, for lack of a better phrase, but a more like aggressive, more masculine, more ferocious version of yoga, in the sense that it sought to do the same thing, which is kind of balance the body and the mind, help push us mentally to overcome like any type of internal struggles, and to just be a discipline for spiritual development. And it's really kind of gone downhill over the centuries as humans kind of went into a fall like state. And I mean like their consciousness fell, where they became more focused on war. So then these disciplines became very weaponized. And that is part of the reason why he decided to come in as a fighter to help re-imbue these particular styles. Okay, so yeah, according to Google, his fighting style was Kung Fu. So that makes sense why I keep wanting to say Kung Fu every time I associate with his fighting style. Okay, and also just doing some more Googling on his fighting style. I'm now seeing that he wants me to mention this, that his fighting style in his lifetime as Bruce Lee was Jeet Kune Do, which is a blend of ancient Kung Fu, boxing, and was it mixed martial arts? I don't remember all the styles, but it's a blend of different styles that he invented on his own and began teaching. And that kind of coincides very well with what I was talking about earlier about him and his role of being one of the creators of a lot of these fighting styles and wanting to bring the ancient style back in its spiritual format. Okay, so I've made it back to my place. I'm just going to kind of stand and finish the reading because I don't know if it's just because I'm like back in the hostel, but my social currency is like zero. I can't even stand to be stared at. But suffice it to say, yes, it's a deeper spiritual discipline. And he was coming down into humanity for a number of reasons. Not all of them are being disclosed to me, but for what we know and what I'm being allowed to see is that partly why he was here is to exude like his light and his essence, which of itself is inspiring. By default, his existence on this planet, just the vibration that he was sending off is very infectious. His essence exudes empowerment. His essence exudes intelligence. His essence exudes a deep respect for tradition, for humanity, a healthy respect for darker energies and the sense of understanding the harm that they can do, but showing up in his betrayal in his life, his personal life, and also his movies as an agent of light in a manner that people could digest, hence the Kung Fu movies. Also, I'm seeing lives of him, obviously in ancient China. I believe he was Chinese. Again, like I know very little, but China's coming to mind. Him getting visions of him in like a super long beard, like ridiculously long, like down to his belly button, super long hair, like practicing these Kung Fu disciplines, teaching them as well. I don't know if he had a school this lifetime around, but I'm seeing him with a school of students. I'm seeing him also with kids. Like for some reason, this lifetime is really big with children. I know that he loves kids and he wants to be able to inspire children, which he was able to do in his own way through his movies, which used one of his favorite physical disciplines as a building block to entertain, to inspire, and to just be a beacon of empowerment for so many people. And I think it's really his essence that gives him that X factor and that cult following where there's so many like people of all ages still to this day who really resonate with him and really respect him, like even above, no offense to the other like famous people who got famous fighting, like Chuck Norris and Jackie Chan and all those others. But there's something about his essence that just really resonates and inspires people. And that was mission number one, is just to come down and be a beacon for a specific frequency or specific vibration that he put into his movies, into everything he did, that could be emanated out to the world, and those codes that could be picked up in part through his voice, but also through his presence, his essence, and the way that he moved, because light codes can be transmitted through movement as well. Especially the way that he fought, it was very much like a dance, like art, and kind of bringing that old soul into the fighting style and inspiring so many people just by his very presence. So that's number one, is just being born on earth and exuding light. And I think that this one in particular is coming forward because there's so many people on earth, like myself included, I'm sure many watching, who have similar missions where it's like they're literally just here to exist and exude a light in a dark space, and to not think that while very simplistic, is a tremendous gift in and of itself. I think we get lied to in our society into thinking that we have to do something massive, like we have to make $1 million, or we have to I don't know, be known worldwide to make a difference or to make an impact. But in reality, just us existing as Earth, even if we're not ever known, our impact will be here long after we go. And that's a really important point that he was able to exemplify from his life, but also that he wants that's relevant to all of us watching that he wants us to know as well. Another mission for him on Earth, I kind of touched on it a little bit, but it's its own unique thing, is to be a source of empowerment. I've only seen like one or two Bruce Lee movies. I've seen Enter the Dragon and like maybe one more, but it's always about him being a little bit of an outcast, at least from what I can remember, being a little bit of an outsider. He very often in his movies like allies himself with other people who may have a more outcast position. He's always portraying like making a point to make sure that he doesn't allow people who are often in marginalized positions to be, if he can help it and has that like control to be able to influence the direction of the movie, to be in a disempowered position, at least not while he's around. And if he can help it, if he has any influence on the script, not on their own either. Like I don't remember him being a part of movies where people are like oppressed and marginalized and he's like fine with that. Like he's always standing up for the underdog from what the movies that I saw. And that's very much the essence that he's portraying in his lifetime as Bruce Lee, that he wants us all to remember, is that he really wanted us to be a source of empowerment. Even some of his favorite quotes where he was, encouraging people to understand that they are ferocious, that they have nothing to fear, that just very ballsy empowerment is what he wanted to portray, exude, and inspire with his presence. Also hearing that Bruce Lee was sexually fluid during his life, that's also something important to mention. I mean, I'll go and Google, but off the top of my head, I have no information at all on his love interest during his life, if he had any love interest. That's another thing that's important to mention, is that he just very much is about like empowerment and freedom and liberation, and that includes gender, all the genders and orientations. Like he's very big on that, and he's excited to see that is something that's gaining traction, as well as other movements like racial equality and etc. He's really big on that. I think that's also part of just genealogy, because he has incarnated before as obviously Chinese, but he has had like other lifetimes as well where he's been like African. I almost want to say like part of the Mayan or Incan bloodline as well, but I don't think he's had as many lifetimes in like a white body. So it was really important for him to come in Asian, just again to like represent, first of all, his culture, because he would be taken more seriously if he's doing like a new style of kung fu since it originated from that region, but also to come in just as a minority to represent like that outsider like archetype that he has really strongly, and that he's really just not about anything mainstream, especially if it is harmful or oppressive to anyone else. And I looked in a little bit more, just again Googling. Apparently he was married to a woman, but he is sexually fluid, and just for some reason it's important for me to touch like briefly on that relationship. I don't know why, maybe it's because it's shrouded in mystery or speculation, but just to clear it up briefly, yes, he did cheat, but the relationship again was a very complicated karmic relationship. And that's kind of all that needs to be said. Like, it was just a very karmic relationship, and there was a lot of turbulence because karmic relationships are naturally turbulent. For some reason, I just was guided to clear that up. There's so much we could talk about him, but I just feel like there's nothing else coming right now. I've touched on the main points. So that was Bruce Lee's magical Akashic record readings. If you would like your own magical Akashic record reading, I have them available on my website, eringabriella.com. A magical one is for my witches or anyone who wants to explore their magical lives more deeply. And then the general one is just a general reading where I'll just kind of pull up anything that you might want to talk about with regards to relationships, career, etc., and pull forward those lives to help you work through or give you any insight that I can to help guide you more along your path, whether magical, witchy, or not. So again, you can find those on eringabriella.com. I am also working on getting shop links up on Facebook and Instagram, so it'd be easier to, if you follow me on those pages as well, to just click through. But that's coming. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And if you have any other suggestions, I'd be happy to hear from it. And thank you so much. That's the end of the reading itself. So, as promised, I will give a little bit more personal information because I haven't had a chance to update. It's just been I feel like 2024 has been a very crazy, not my favorite year. Really, I found it like a quite challenging year as I expected. I hope you guys are handling the fire energies okay. April is very active as well, as I see here. Now that we're kind of halfway through the month, I'm at a hostel again for hopefully a couple of days. And I struggle just so much. I'm so easily overwhelmed. I just get really overwhelmed with all the people, even though that this is one of the nicer places. Oh my God. All the noises from the cars and the birds, it drive me nuts. Like I have no privacy. Like I feel like the people here are a little bit nicer, it's a little bit more diverse. Because there are certain I went to a hostel in Johannesburg. It was nothing but like Afrikaans and like white people, and I just dealt with like so much racism and stuff. It was ridiculous. So it's nice to have a nicer one that's much more different people from all over the world. But I still struggle so much with just all the people around. I'm just very used to my private space. Before that, I was just in an Airbnb. I found a nice little place, just a room. I just don't have the budget for my own individual spaces these days. Hopefully that will change, but right now I'm just renting out rooms as opposed to like whole apartments like I was doing before, and it's a big adjustment, like living with people. So I really am not a fan of co-living, but I do what I need to do. Like, the thing about traveling is like, especially when you travel full time, the way that I'm doing it on the spirit guided quests and not like a corporate slave or something like that, it has so many hills and valleys and so many moments where I'm just so tested in every way. I feel like I'm kind of barely hanging on. Like it's literally just God and spirit like propping me up by a thread. And it's crazy to see me somehow managing to navigate what are some very challenging logistical circumstances to kind of get this business off the ground. But I've been doing my best to make some overhauls. So you'll be seeing like new, unique Instagram, Facebook posts. I'll continue to do these Akashic record readings. I think that they're well liked and they're easier to do as well than the rituals, because the rituals take a lot more time, effort, and tension and camera angles and lighting. But the rituals are still a mainstay, so please don't think that I'm going to stop or reduce the rituals at all, because I'm definitely not. Every time I have an opportunity, I will make one. It's just logistically, there's certain days or weeks where it's logistically impossible for me to make one. And because the Akashic record readings just only require me to show up and talk wherever I am, it's a little bit easier for me to get these out. So I might end up with a higher volume of Akashic record readings, at least for now, until I can stabilize a little bit. But I do take donations as well. If you like my work and want to assist, that's amazing. And again, if you'd like your own Akashic record reading, I offer those as well as an elemental assessment, all on my website, eringabriella.com. Thanks so much.